everybody, and welcome back to Coffin Talk Interviews with the Living. This is Mike Oppenheim, and I am here to give you a quick pre-show. So what I do is I record these right after the show when my energy's high and I'm feeling all the love I have for the interview I just had with the guest. And today our guest is Laura Bratton. She has been legally blind since her teens, and she's been officially completely no sight since about the end of high school. And we talked a lot about the profound experience of the change of going from always thinking you can see just like everyone else to a diagnosis at the age of 9, and then the eventual onset of the diagnosis and how her life has carried out since then. I think among the many brilliant things she said, the end of the interview is my favorite when we talk about why she chose the phrase grit and gratitude. It literally moved me. My heart was feeling melty and moving in my chest, and I was just full of love for just how people can take things that we think we can't handle and then live an amazing, fulfilling life out of it and then help others. And so I think everyone, especially if you're listening to this podcast and you like it, experiences this. We see moments where we have something and we're grateful for it, and then we see moments where we don't have something and we have to learn how to adjust or deal with that, and I think aging just in general is a constant process of losing things you thought you might always have, or at least you didn't really intellectually contemplate all the way through. Maybe it's not like that for everyone, I don't know, but for me and all the people I interact with, it's a humbling experience to say the least, because as you age you lose the youthful qualities that we all love. So it's a profound thing, I think, when you're a 9-year-old and you're told that you're going to lose something that some people never lose, which is your eyesight. And Laura talks about it wonderfully. Also, it's a lot of funny questions in the interview. I just kind of asked all those hey, if you got to interview someone and they said it's okay to ask me any question, what would you ask? So I tried to ask every single question I could think that I would want to ask a person about that experience. And I've definitely thought about losing my eyesight a million times. It's literally my livelihood. Every single thing I do that earns income, all 6 of them involve my eyesight. If I were to lose my eyesight tomorrow, I would be unemployed, and I would be unemployable in most of the careers I've had. So it's something to really think about as you listen to this interview. Be grateful for what you do have, but also be grateful for how what you don't have helps you gain insight and a life worth living mentality, because I think that's a huge part of this interview. So anyway, and on a personal level, life seems to be okay. There's a lot of weird things going on in life, and my wife and I are dealing with some health and illness in the overall family, not anyone in my immediate family, and that's tough. So just throwing that out there for people in case you're curious. We're all dealing with different things, and it's continues to be a humbling experience to just be a human on earth trying to make sense of everything and realizing that I won't, and I probably even shouldn't, but it's my personality. So I am a inquisitive mind, always seeking the truth, and I love to hear it from everyone. So as always, I will throw this out there. If you have never been on the show and want to come on, please let me know. I'm very easy to find and reach. And if you've been on the show and you want to come back on, let me know. And if you have any feedback, you can always let me know. And if I don't hear from you, it's okay. I've learned to stop checking numbers, but every once in a while I have to see them, and they're always going up. So I just know that whatever I'm doing, it seems to be working. If my goal was to make this into some successful project, which it never was, which ironically is probably why it's becoming such a thing. So there's something for people to mull on. Maybe when you give up the attachment of what you want, but you don't give up the thing you're doing, maybe that's the key. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe the whole book should be rewritten, and it should be hey, we were wrong. It's actually what this idiot in Phoenix, Arizona, Mike Oppenheim, just said on his podcast at the end of a rambling interview beginning, which is about to end when I say now. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Coffin Talk, Interviews with the Living, a weekly podcast that explores how our views on death affect the way we live our life. And this week, our guest is Laura Bratton. She's the author of Harnessing Courage. And at the age of 9, she was diagnosed with an eye disease and faced the difficult reality that she would become blind. She's founded Ubi Global, which is an organization that provides speaking and coaching to empower all people to overcome challenges and obstacles with grit and gratitude. And we are fortunate and lucky and all those other words to have her on our show. So welcome, Laura. How are you?
Thank you. Great. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And we always ask only 2 questions are planned on this podcast. But the first one is how old are you? Where did you grow up? And what generation, if any, do you consider yourself a member of?
So I grew up in South Carolina, and I'm 41. So technically that's the oldest, or very at the upper end of millennials. But I don't feel like a millennial. I
Cool.
relate more to the above me, more so than like the traditional millennial.
Yeah, I understand. I'm 44, so I'm like in a very similar camp. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely understand that. And South Carolina, what's that like? Are you still there?
Yes, I am. I was gone for a while, and now I'm back here, and it's great. It's completely different. I was gone for about 15 years, and I when I came back, it was completely different, but still the deep South. So
That's cool.
the greatest thing about it is I'm 4 hours from the beach and literally at the mountains. So it's a good location.
Yeah, I actually want to come visit it. I've driven through it numerous times, but I think that's just like not a good way to see a state. And one of the reasons I asked is that I think a lot of people are starting to move there. It's like one of those kind of
Oh
like
yes.
not hidden secrets in America anymore.
Yes, everybody's moving to Greenville. That's where I was born and raised, and yeah, everybody's moving here.
Cool. Awesome. So let's jump into the obvious question that I think most people want answered, which is what is the name of the diagnosis that you had and how and when did that take effect?
So there's not a name.
Okay.
I was diagnosed, like you said, when I was 9, but still 30 plus years later, there has not been an exact diagnosis. It's incredibly rare. And so the gene that caused the mutation to cause the blindness has not been discovered. So it's totally unknown. Otherwise perfectly healthy.
And did your eyesight like fade over time or was it abrupt?
So it was both. And I say that because it was basically through the 4 years of high school. So when I started high school, I was legally blind, but then by the end of high school, in those 4 years, I had no sight. So it wasn't like I just woke up one day and didn't have sight, but yet when I did lose it, it would be a significant amount and then plateau, and then be a significant amount and then plateau. So it was fast when I was going through it, but yet it wasn't just wake up one day and have no sight.
Yeah, no, that's I understand. I have a lot of questions I'll probably ask about that process because that's actually fascinating to me because the point of this podcast is like to figure out people's metaphysical and personal philosophies and mostly as a motivation, like how do you keep the fire inside? And so I think as a child, sometimes these things are like sound harder to adults, but a child accepts things easier than adults, in my opinion, having a father of 3 and my own
Yes.
experiences. So,
Yes, I agree.
was the way the doctor told you about it and the way your parents talked about it like traumatizing, or was it more just kind of matter of fact when you were 9 specifically?
100% matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
You said it perfectly. And that was a gift of being a 9-year-old. It was very matter of fact. The doctors told me, obviously, at the same time as my parents. And I could see perfectly then. So that's just what I'm always going to do. Right.
Yeah.
Cognitively, as a 9-year-old, I heard it, but I didn't emotionally process what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents still remind me to this day, we walked out of the room. We were literally still in the parking garage, Emory in Atlanta. And I said, so now can I go get a peach tea at Starbucks?
Yeah.
My parents they now tell me, we've just got this life-changing news and all you're worried about is getting Starbucks.
Yeah.
The reality hit me when I started losing a significant amount of sight.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it hit me because then it became real, physically and emotionally, and I was just much older.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come back to this line, like the narration element of it, like the order of the story happening, but I want to know because I've always been fascinated by this question I've always had. So the first part of the question is, have you worked with people who were always blind, or have you only worked with people who went blind?
So on a professional level, I actually have never worked with anyone with sight problems.
Uh-huh.
On a personal level, I've obviously reached out to a lot of people. And so I've interacted just on a personal level, learning it from the experiences of people who've been born blind. And then also like me, who lost it sometime in life either. But most common is in adults. It's very rare to lose it when I did as a teenager. So I've
Oh, wow.
had experiences with both, but not on a professional level.
Okay, because I think so. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but I've always been curious: do people who never had sight not miss it in a way that is like different than a person who did? And is there any of like that discussion between the two populations in your experience?
100%, because it's a catch-22, because the gift of me losing it was that I have full sight in my memory.
Yeah.
Right. So my visual cortex is still perfect. So because I had full sight for so long, I remember a green tree, a brick building, stucco siding. I'm just thinking of totally random things. I can instantly visualize that when you say it. The harder part for me is that I grieve what I don't have. I know how easy it is to live life with sight. So that's what I literally grieve every single day. Someone born without sight, they don't have that visual map, yet they don't have the grieving process of having something and then losing it. So there's not a right or wrong, better or worse. It's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, no, that's very profound. And just by the way, I like to let people know in the middle of an interview, even if it's awkward, I love talking to you. You're very natural and easy to talk to. You have a nice smile, and I just like the way you conduct yourself. So it makes it easier for me, because I think I do so many of these interviews, and I'm always just asking like penetrating questions about someone's like deepest emotional state. So thank you. It's
ask away, because I promise there's nothing I haven't been asked.
Yeah, I figured. So I guess kind of go back to childhood and also the theme of the overall podcast. Were you raised religious? Are you religious? And did any of that have to do with this experience as far as coping?
Yeah, so I was, being from the deep South, keep that in context. I say that to keep that in context. Being raised in South Carolina, Christianity is just a social, just kind of fabric part of your being. So I grew up United Methodist, and the shift that happened, the change that happened, is as I was quickly losing my sight in those high school years, faith and Christianity wasn't just something my family and I did because it was a cultural norm. Faith became real and practical. And so, yes, the connection with spirit and the gift of faith was such a source of strength, in that knowing that, yes, as I go through this traumatic loss, I'm not less than. I'm not in all of a sudden other, or I'm not all of a sudden this is now plan B, right? Or I'm not a mistake and just kind of figure it out. So the gift was having that foundation. It gave me the access to feeling and experiencing the unconditional love, literally regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah. Wow. That might be the answer to this question, but like if I were to imagine losing my sense of smell, I could come up with a few positive aspects to it. Like, oh, I don't have to smell bad odors anymore, for example. Are there any of those that come with losing your eyesight?
For me, always answer that no, because I know how easy life is with sight.
Yeah, that makes sense. What is a way that you like make up for the lack of sight? Like again, this is just a person who has sight asking a question, trying to figure out something I don't experience. For example, if I close my eyes and the television's on, the music sounds louder, like even though it's not. So is there anything like that happens that like...
So what I've experienced, and this wasn't intentional or I didn't seek this out, because I'm not focused on the physical sight, I very, very much pick up people's energy.
Wow, cool.
And in a way, and again, I didn't seek this out, or I didn't intentionally search for this, or no one told me, hey, be aware of this.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm hyper aware of the energy in the environment. And again, a practical example of that, I can often say to someone, gosh, they seem really angry. And they're like, oh, Laura, no, they're not. They don't look angry. Like they're fine. And then an hour later, it comes out that, they're extremely angry. So it's just, and I could just walk into a room and just be like, oh, wow, this is tense. Whoa, they're discussing something that they're not agreeing on, or vice versa. I can walk in and say, wow, there's just a sense of peace here.
Cool.
And it's most of the time, a large amount of the time, just the energy I'm correct on.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that sense of energy and picking up on that, on people's just aura,
mm-hmm.
has become very, very strong. And again, that wasn't something that I was searching for. Oh, let me develop this since I don't have sight.
Yeah.
It's just come. It's just happened. As far as my other senses, I pay attention to them more. Like you were saying, the TV example is perfect. I am depending on 4 where you're depending on 5. So it's not that my hearing got better. It's just that I'm depending on it more than you are.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about, would you prefer to like listen to a book on Audible or to read it in Braille? Like, is the experience unique and different?
100% Audible. And I say that as someone who lost her sight and learned Braille as a teenager.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm super slow. If I was born blind and started learning Braille as a 3-year-old, I don't know, I might have a different answer.
Yeah.
But just because of the time I learned Braille, I would much rather listen to an audiobook.
Mm-hmm. And what's something, okay, again, I'm going to tell you a personal experience to relate, like why I'm asking these kind of questions. I was hit by a car and I was in a wheelchair for a long time, and it was abrupt and I had never seen it coming. And in that state, I had to like learn a lot of hard lessons about like what does and doesn't work in American society for people in wheelchairs. What is something you just want to scream at the top of your lungs to normal eyesight people that you wish they would either have more compassion for or understanding, or that we would just change in society to help people who are visually impaired?
That's a great question.
Want more interesting conversations? Head over to MikeYop.com and sign up for a premium subscription. You'll get bonus podcasts, essays, and other goodies. Plus, it's the #1 way to support the show. Just go to MikeYop.com, MikeYopp.com, and click subscribe, and we'll send you a link. Thank you.
Honestly, it'd be the mindset. Just to know that people who can't see are just human.
Yeah.
I mean, I just literally had this experience yesterday. I was interacting with someone, they didn't realize I was blind. They were talking to me completely like normal, just like they were talking to the person with me. Then they realized I was blind and they started talking louder and slower.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And I get that reaction from the majority of the people who are not, like friends and family, obviously.
Yeah.
So that would be the one thing that I would say. And just to put people at ease, just talk to me like you talk to anybody else. Yeah. And then don't worry about the words you use. Don't worry about how you're interacting. Just interact normal, and then let me guide you and ask questions where I need to. People assume, I don't know, if they talk louder, I will see better or something. I don't know. But it's just our natural reaction to talk louder and slower. So that would be the one big change I wish people would make.
Yeah. No, that's very telling. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And it's interesting because it's almost the inverse of my next question, which is when I was young, I was overweight for a long time and I was made fun of a lot for it. And I would actually like wish that like we didn't see each other. Like I remember like having that as like a child, not like, and I still to this day don't like when I have superficial visually like oriented thoughts. Like it actually deeply bothers me. I feel like it makes me a shallow person. I know I can't help it. I know it's a product of the environment, especially watching too much TV, but it's hard on myself and it's hard on others. And I see other people struggle with it too. Do you still like carry those awful American like habits? Like does that translate what I'm trying to ask?
So meaning, do I still have those kind of like American perception.
Yeah, like meaning like if
categories.
you hear like if someone's describing someone, they're like, oh, they're like thin and beautiful. Do you still like ascribe like a hierarchy to that the way most normal people do? Again, not everyone does this, but
100%.
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah.
100%. Because just like you said, we're a product of our environment, of our American environment, right? Like everybody else around is sighted.
Yeah.
So it's like, this sounds weird to say, but sometimes when I'm in, especially in those conversations, I forget I can't see, because everyone in my world is sighted, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, you absolutely still have those perceptions 100%.
And since you do compose yourself really well and you look completely normal, and I know that you're supposed to look normal, but I'm playing off the stereotype of people who speak louder or treat you differently when they find out you're blind. Do you ever like fake that you're not blind in situations just to like make it easier for yourself or even others?
Oh, 1,000%. So I've had two guide dogs, and I had each about 11 or 12 years, and especially when I had them while they were still living, the joke was, I mean, it was a joke, but it was reality. It was like, oh my gosh, just, for this one quick trip to the grocery store, the guide dog's going to stay home and I'm going to walk into the store with, whoever, and the alarm's not going to go off that like disabled blind girl walked into Publix,
Wow.
So, and it's hilarious. So I haven't had a guide dog. My second one, she passed away a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm somewhere and just doing sighted guide and don't have my cane, it's crazy how it's just everybody thinks you're normal, right?
Yeah.
I even recently had someone say to me, my fiance were in a restaurant and someone commented on, like, oh, well, you're holding on to him tight. And I was like, well, I kind of have to, like.
That's funny. Like, that's like
because so sighted guide, sorry, I didn't explain that. The blind person with their right hand holds the elbow right above the elbow of obviously the sighted person.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guide is that, you're always, as a sighted person, of half a step or step ahead of the person who's blind. So holding your elbow, they're literally guiding you as they're walking forward.
Yeah.
So I'm holding his elbow and just like, we're in the restaurant. And she's like, you're holding on to him tight. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, I could see you getting accosted by a feminist group. Like, hey,
seriously, seriously. And
you don't need that man to hold you.
Yeah, and I've gotten to the point where I just say, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this because I'm blind." Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I want water. Just like you keep the conversation moving.
Yeah,
not to make it like this huge dramatic moment. You know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Many years ago, I had a dog, and he was my favorite buddy ever. I was single, and I just loved him. And I was going to apply to get a license to carry him on planes and take him places. And my friend's mom, actually, but she's my friend, she said, "You're an awful, horrible person." And she tore me a new one. I didn't get it, and I quickly understood why, and I'm very glad she did. So I'm just curious, do you ever hear about or come across people who are abusing the animal act and using it in weird ways, or does it not affect you at all?
Every single day, and I love your friend's mom. We would be best friends.
Awesome.
Yes, that absolutely angers me so much, because what I want to scream is, that dog is literally my eyes.
Yeah.
I need this dog for my physical being. So yeah, that absolutely takes me from 0 to 60 quickly.
Oh man, I'm clicking with you on everything. Yeah, again, I was a punk 20 something. It's not this is literally decades ago. Hopefully. Yeah, no, definitely not. And it's funny because now I sneer at the same people, and so I'm like, dude, just calm down. You were young, exactly. You don't know what they're going through.
They're going through. Yes. I have to remind myself of that.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of that, I will ask the only other planned question on the podcast, which is we ask every guest, what do you think happens when you die? And there's no special flavor to it because of you're blind or anything. But I am curious, afterwards, we're going to talk a lot about how your faith does come into play. So what do you think actually happens to you when you die, though?
Yeah. So I'm certified in grief counseling and grief work and bereavement work. So I've studied death and the process of dying a lot from both a spiritual academic standpoint, as I have a master's in theology, but
Wow.
also just from the grief perspective. And I struggle to put it into words because, again, it's like an intuition. I don't view death as the end, we just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't view death as like we're flying around in the sky, like with angel wings.
Yeah.
And the best way I can put it into words and describe it is just the transition to the next phase of our energy that's just at peace, at ease, and just grounded.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not one extreme or the other.
Wow.
But it's just a natural process that is incredibly peaceful and graceful. I guess that would be the biggest word. If I had to sum it up in a word, it would be just grace.
Yeah. Wow. So the same way you said earlier that you're good at like feeling the energy, I'm usually good at like telling if someone's intuitive. I don't know why, but maybe it's just, and I can tell you are. So I'm curious, like, what is something intuitive that has happened in your life that was profound that you could share with our audience to help them, like a moment or an insight or anything like that, or even just how you understood that you're intuitive?
The best way I can describe it is just how I was talking about it and picking up the energy of others. I can instantly hear what someone's saying beneath the words.
I like that.
So rather than focusing so much on the words, I focus on the energy, the tone that they're saying it with. I'm using this word a million times, but the energy behind the words. So if they say one thing, but it comes out angry, or it comes out sad, or it comes out more like a question.
Yeah.
So that's how I am most intuitive, is picking up the underneath of what's being actually said in the words. So it's not this intuitive, like I had these dreams I predict the future, but it's just this intuitive, like, you're saying you're okay, but that's not really the energy I'm getting. So it's just an intuitive on other people's behavior and just mindset and experience.
Yeah, no, that speaks deeply to me. And I think that's a problem with language, is like we come up with connotations over denotations. So like the word intuitive doesn't mean like predicting the future, nor does psychic, it's like just of the mental. So yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm actually curious because this is a problem I have. I feel people too, and I'm like less listening to the specific words and more like the voice behind it. And I'm not comparing myself to you, but I am asking about the following. I fail with that when it comes to text messages. Like I read into it too much and I don't understand them. And I have, especially with the internet, so I don't enjoy the internet. I don't really use it the way other people do. I'm curious, do you still have that ability when you're like for example, when I said you text this morning, do they come out with the energy when you hear them?
That's a great question. Most of the time, I completely agree with you. It's very hard to read the energy in a text. I more can perceive the energy in a text when I know the person well.
Yeah. Okay.
So more so with like family or friends, when they send me a text, and I'm like, I think there's more behind this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're saying the right thing, but there's a little more behind it. And again, a lot of that comes also what I found in text, people's patterns. So knowing, this person usually sends short text, or this person usually sends long text, and then that changes. So what I more pay attention to is when the patterns change, then my awareness goes up of what's going on. Something changed.
That makes sense. What
in
about
their
like
normal behavior?
So now, like with at least with the iPhone, you can like record a voice message and send it as a text. So do people ever like do both with you, or do you prefer one? Like I'm imagining you prefer the actual hearing their voice one, but
I don't have a strong opinion on that. So a lot of people just send like a regular text. Yeah, again, I don't really have a strong preference because the gift is with just like a written text. If I'm on another phone call and I have my earbuds in, I can just read that text quickly. I can't respond, but I can at least read it to know what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I do love the voice text because then you get the inflection.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, I haven't received enough to have a preference.
No, that's cool.
One way or the other.
And then this question is actually like more about your profound insights into humanity. How do you feel about, because you're 41, I'm 44. Like we grew up with this, we didn't know it was coming, but like we grew up before technology was society. It was just a part, like a small aspect of our life, ATM machines, like here and there, the phone that you pick up and have to dial and all that. So how do you feel about the way, because obviously some of it has enhanced your specific disability tremendously, but I'm not really asking about like, is it helpful? I just mean, how do you feel about how much society has changed because of it?
We are so focused on it.
Mm-hmm.
We are scary dependent on it. It's like we leave it somewhere and we're in the grocery store and we have a panic attack. It's like we are so eerie dependent on it in so many different ways. It's not enough to just have a phone. We got to have a watch, and then we got to have a million things. So I think our dependence on it is the biggest thing I notice that we can't. It's like we've forgotten how to live without it.
Yeah, yeah. How do you feel in general about because I liked in your bio that you sent over, you're working like Ubi Global. Do you want to just explain? Did I pronounce it right? Is it Ubi or Ubi?
It's perfect. Yeah, you did perfect. So it's an organization that I created specifically for speaking and coaching the whole purpose is to work with people as they navigate through change. So clearly I've been through a lot of change and still go through change every day as a person without sight in a sighted world. So I speak to corporations who are going through change and then also work with individuals navigating through change. And as you mentioned earlier, I see the benefits of technology can help us, but then that dependence is so strong. It's like we've forgotten how to think and process and critical thinking on our own.
Yeah. Wow. I'm an author, so I'm like incredibly word oriented, and I loved your bio, specifically. You said helping people overcome challenges and obstacles with grit and gratitude. I am curious why you chose the word grit and how you determined to use that and what you mean by it. I have my own understanding, but I loved that you used it. So
the reason I use grit and gratitude is because I wrote about it in my book. That's what I speak on. That's what I coach on. And the reason behind all that is those were the two words that, if I had to sum up my whole experience, those are the two words that got me through the initial adjustment to blindness.
Oh, wow.
And the way that I define grit, I love Dr. Angela Duckworth's work. So let me say how I first don't define it. So I do not define it as grin and bear it, push through, don't show any emotion. You'll just figure it out. Be strong. The way I define it is having the long-term goal, which for me would be that long-term goal of living life without sight, and breaking that long-term goal into small goals every single day that we can achieve. So, and grit does not look like, again, within those moment to moment, look like just grin and bear it, suck it up, get over it, push on. It looks like acknowledging the pain and then choosing to move forward.
Wow. You're amazing. You do public speaking, I can tell, and you're excellent at it, but it's just very refreshing. My heart was melting when you described that. That was seriously awesome to hear. I've had so many moments in my life where I've tried to help other people and I didn't use that word, and it would have helped. It would have helped me many times when I was trying to help someone else see how they could get past something, either a divorce or the loss of someone, just anything. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm just so thankful. I have gratitude, no grit about this interview, but I can't thank you enough. And I always give my guests the floor at the end of the interview, just your chance to give any message you want to my audience, whatever you want it to be. It's totally up to you.
So the message I'd love to give is to touch on gratitude. So
Sure.
I want to make it very, very clear to all the listeners. When I say gratitude, what I do not mean is being positive and happy and saying thank you all the time. So gratitude is not acting like we don't have any problems and just being always positive. The way I define gratitude is being grateful and appreciative for what helps us navigate through the difficulty.
Wow.
So let me just share one quick example. I don't wake up and say, gosh, I am so grateful to be blind. This is wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do wake up and say, I'm so grateful to have a guide dog that helps me navigate the world.
Mm.
So that's what I mean by the difference in gratitude. I don't want anyone to listen to this and walk away thinking, oh, I just have to be positive and happy, right? Because that's not helpful or healing. What is helpful and healing is to know gratitude is a mindset shift that helps us focus on what we do have in the midst of change.
Wow. Laura, thank you so much. I am just a huge fan of yours. I hope everyone checks out Ubi Global. There will be a link in the notes, and also her book, Harnessing Courage, which you can find online and anywhere else you need to. And for everyone at home who's listening, if you want to support the show, the best way is to head over to mikeyop.com. That's MIKEYOPP.com and sign up for the essays and humorous columns that I write and send out once a week. And this has been another episode of Coffin Talk, Interviews with the Living. My name is Mike Oppenheim. Our guest is Laura Bratton, and we will see you soon.